Hey, so what you're looking at here is a Half-Life 2 level that I've made for anyone looking to get into Half-Life 2 level editing, and particularly for people taking part in the level design jam that we're doing on the Discord server. I've added download links to both the editor file and the playable level file in the video description, so take a look. Okay, so let's build the level now and jump straight in to see what we've got. Alright, so what have we got in this level? We have a pistol and a shotgun in front of us. Yes, you can see it's a mix of real textures that I've used and development textures, just to kind of illustrate both of them, but also show that the scale and things like that. There's a window that I've set to block line of sight so that this guy doesn't turn angry straight away. You can tell there that he hears me, but he can't see me. I've scripted it so that when I walk into this main area, I spawn this combined zombie guy, and immediately we have some systemic AI combat, which is the theme of the jam. That friendly turret and these friendly NPCs over here start firing at it. So what should I do next? There's a switch over here, but before I do this though, I'm gonna press this button here. This button I've scripted to destroy the brush that I'm using as the force field, which will then free Alex and a civilian to join me, like that. And now that I've got some AI buddies, we can press this button, and it will spawn a hunter, which is quite a big deal. And now you see, this is like a mini boss. Quite a kind of tough cookie that you've got to focus on to take out. It's quite fierce. Oh, there we go. Oh, and the Combine guy seems to have heard us, and ooh, he's just thrown a grenade over, which, yeah, it just took out one of our friendlies. And so right there, that is already an example of completely emergent gameplay, which I did not script. It was all systemic that the Combine guy heard us fighting and he came to join in, and he systemically decided to throw a grenade and it took out one of our NPCs. Now I'm going to pick up this turret, and what's cool is that it will still fire while we're holding it and we can place it wherever we like. So I'm going to place that here, because I happen to know that when I walk over this trigger, it triggers this. I've scripted some Combine guys to rappel down when you walk into this area. So that's an example of scripted enemy stuff and some systemic gameplay there where you can place the turret to use it however you like. Here's a bit of water. Oh, acting a bit funky. Oh, almost blew up the explosive barrel. Yeah, this is in the map to show how you can create water and bumpy terrain. All of this stuff you can copy paste and make in your own map. What else can we do? Let's go in here. We've got the crowbar from this table to get through these breakable planks. We go here. Oh. That's nice. So if you put physics objects in front of zombies, they will attack it systemically to kind of fling them at their opponents. Let's just finish these off. What else can we do? What's up here? There's a ladder here. And here I've set up this little sniper section. So when you walk across this walkway, it wakes up a sniper in the building opposite. Quite vicious. But they're hiding in that little black window. And if we fire a little rocket in there like that, we take them out. And now I'm really low on health. Oh, cheers mate. And I think that's pretty much it. Here's a staircase that I took from my arcane level design test to get back down to the bottom. But there we go. There's just a bunch of little scripted and systemic encounters that can play out in various different ways. So now that you've seen it, let's switch back to the editor and I'll give you a really quick rundown on how some of the really basic stuff works. Okay, so how did I do that stuff? First of all, most of the geo is BSP. These cubes that have stretched around. You know, you can stretch like this. This is an example of a trigger volume that I've used to script stuff, like that zombie guy appears when the player runs through this trigger. The way that works is that you create a brush and turn it into a trigger, and then you double click on it to bring up the entity options and stuff. And basically all scripting in Hammer is done with these inputs and outputs. So when we have an output on an entity, we can set it up so that this entity makes another entity do something. So for example, in this case, I have on trigger, which is when the player moves through this trigger volume, target this Zombine NPC and wake them, right? That means bring them to life, basically. There's a delay of half a second, and I'll only let this happen once. And so that trigger volume is set to script to wake up this Zombine enemy, and systemically, this friendly turret will start to attack it. And similarly, these two friendly NPCs will also attack it from a distance because they see it happening. So there's a bit of scripting there that combines with systemic behavior. And what else? Oh, I'll tell you how I made these buttons. The interactive part of the button is actually this invisible box, which is placed just above the prop or mesh of the button that you see in the game. And the invisible box is given the func button entity. And this is set up so that when you press the button, these 4 things happen, right? So it's a similar deal, but this time it's based on player interaction. Things like breakable planks, you can just copy and paste into your own levels. These info nodes are things that I've placed to help the AI create a kind of movement network of nodes on the floor so that it tells them basically where they can go and where they should go. Here are the 3 Combine guys who rappel down from the building. They are set up with inputs from this trigger volume down here, so that when you go here, they're triggered to wake and then begin rappelling after 2 seconds. Oh, and I didn't mention the props thing, because as well as level geo being made out of BSP, like these blocks here, the proper 3D meshes that you see in the level are various kinds of prop. You have prop static, which is obviously static meshes that don't move. And you have physics props, like this crate, which moves around and you can blow up and that kind of stuff. So we create these by placing prop entities, and then in the settings we assign its world model, and we can choose which prop it is. We can search for things like table, and then choose one of these. These are all physics props. And that's how you create explosive barrels. That's how I've placed these cars and the fences. You get the idea. Okay, this obviously isn't a huge comprehensive guide to everything in Hammer, it's just some really basic stuff to get you started, but I hope it's useful and it helps people in the jam, and any more questions you can obviously just ask them on the Discord. See you there.